Wheel, a big idea that's inspired countless new ones.
And consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit ssga.com.
So now, have you heard about this test tomorrow?
I heard you talk about it yesterday. I've seen it and heard it nowhere else.
Okay, so you're not getting emails with the conspiracy concerns.
No, I don't get any of that stuff.
How do you avoid that?
I don't know.
I would think everybody would.
I think most people.
News guy.
I think most people don't get that.
Well,
you're a lightning rod for that kind of stuff because
yes,
you're John Reid. You're the John Reid. You're not just John Reid. You're the.
So
John
as
Reid.
soon as I mentioned it at the end of the last half hour, man, I started getting texts from lots of different people, including some elected officials who were kind of concerned about this. I don't know. Let's see. Some group for safe technologies texted material. I gotta read this. What could? Does it make sense that a audible test of your phone of the emergency signal what does that do? Does that trigger something? What is it? What is the allegation here? I don't understand. Maybe I'm just missing something. It sounds like they're saying people who got the vaccines, it will activate something in the vaccines. That sounds crazy to me. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I must be missing something. I think I'm a pretty smart guy. I read a lot, but it's certainly possible that I'm completely on the outs here and just am missing the whole point. But now I've got probably a dozen texts here that I got to go through and try to figure out. Well, anyway, a fair warning, tomorrow, Wednesday, at 2:20 in the afternoon, apparently there's this nationwide test of the emergency alert system. And, it's very annoying. I think it always happens at a bad time when you're watching TV and they're about to announce who the killer is on, NCIS or one of the mystery shows, murder shows, and suddenly they interrupt and you miss what you wanted to see. The same thing with the radio. They interrupt the very thing you want to hear after 8 hours of blah 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 that you didn't care about. So fair warning, tomorrow at 2:20 Eastern time there's this national test, and I guess it's every single TV, every single radio, what else? Cell phone, all across the country. Now, I was talking to my mom about it because my mother, if I think I get conspiracy emails, she really gets conspiracy emails. I'm not exactly sure how that has worked out that way, but she is very concerned. She wants me to find a box to put all of the cell phones in so that they don't emit the signals into the house. Now, I don't get that. I don't understand. What am I missing? I can't imagine that there's actually a threat from this, but maybe I'm not imaginative enough to appreciate what's actually going on. But, between now and tomorrow morning, we'll try to find somebody who can come on and talk through this and either talk about the threat or discredit the threat. All right, it is 7:09 on this Tuesday morning. It's the third day of October, 2023. I'm John Reid, and we are glad you're with us here on News Radio WRVA. Several times in the last few weeks, we have talked to my friend Hayden Fisher, who has been the chairman of the Republican Party in the city of Richmond. I mean, talk about a job where you just get the heck beat out of you on a regular basis. I mean, there are just not enough Republicans in the city of Richmond to win, so you're kind of your role as the chairperson is to try to hold people accountable and try to point out the bad policies that Democrats are putting in place. Well, Hayden is now running for state senate against Ghazala Hashmi. And I get the impression that Ghazala Hashmi is not really beloved. I don't know if people hate her or not, but I don't think she's a very popular member of the General Assembly, and Hayden has been working hard, knocking on doors. In addition to that, though, he is also an attorney. And he has found himself very deliberately knee-deep in a new controversy that's related to the Democrats up in Fairfax. And I wanted to talk to Hayden both about the campaign and how his campaign's going, but probably more importantly, at least at first, what the story is in Fairfax. Good morning to you, Hayden. How you doing?
Good morning, John. How you doing?
I am great. I'm glad you're here. So what is this kind of underhanded situation that's taking place in Fairfax?
Yeah, so we have Julie Perry as a teacher in Fairfax County Public Schools. She's running in Senate District 36, which is Lower Fairfax.
Okay.
Her opponent, who had knocked off the incumbent, I think it's George Barker's his name, is Stella Pekarsky. She's a member of the school board. She's one of the radical leftists up in Fairfax, Northern Virginia. And so when Julie announced that her candidacy for the state Senate, she was going to be the opponent of Pekarsky if she won her primary, which she did, 51 to 49%. So lo and behold, it turns out Julie finds out in early May that there's a CPS complaint made against her that comes back false.
That's Child Protective Services?
CPS, pardon me? Yeah,
Child Protective Services. Okay.
Relating to a tweet she had put up connecting transgenderism with autism and there being some kind of connection. It was NIH studies she posted. And so it's a pretty innocuous post that she tweeted, but they, I guess, were watching her social media and then hopped right on it. And so she hired me, and we started talking, and she hired me to file a petition in the Fairfax Circuit Court to unmask the identity of this caller, because it was, when it comes back false, there's a Virginia statute that allows you to unmask if it's bad faith and malicious. If you can show bad faith and malicious, the name of the caller.
Oh.
In the meantime, I also helped Julie get a FOIA out, and Luke Rosiak, who's a reporter with the Daily Caller, has broken a lot of the stories in Northern Virginia. He also sent a FOIA out. And so pulling all that back together, we find out, I argued that on September 8th, I argued that in Fairfax Circuit Court. The judge actually granted it. So he wanted to see it in camera and said essentially, if it's a donor, then yeah, that's bad faith and malicious. It turns out it's Robert Rigby was the name of the caller that made the false CPS complaint. He is, in fact, a donor to Stella Pekarsky and also an activist pushing the transgender agenda up in Fairfax, Northern Virginia. And we also uncover an email from Vanessa Hall, because when that CPS complaint, they just dismissed it out of hand. It was so crazy, even Fairfax CPS said, no thanks. This is nuts. Vanessa Hall, another activist up there, and somebody who solicited money for the Democrat committee in Fairfax, turned out to be an email complainant. So after the call didn't work, CPS didn't work, she made a complaint, and then they got together to talk about it. There's a memo that Luke Rosiak uncovered where they set up a meeting. And keep in mind, school board members, their job is to hire and fire a superintendent and set policy. They're not to be involved in personnel matters. Right. They set up a conference call. It says, with Stella, R.E. Julie Perry. And next thing you know, shortly thereafter, she gets a reprimand letter and is brought into the principal's office, and they threaten her with her job and telling her she can't be tweeting on social media and blah, blah, blah. And so all of this information has been uncovered, put together, timeline. And now the Attorney General's office is examining this as a form of potential election interference. We have one school board member using her governmental power to try and basically take out her political opponent, who happens to be a teacher.
For nothing. Just to be clear, there's
absolutely
no
nothing.
Impropriety. There's nothing here that's a problem, other than a difference of opinion.
CPS did not even refer it for investigation. They dismissed it. Very serious issue.
Why is it metamorphosized into this kind of hostility? I mean, it used to be that maybe you really despised the person that you were running against. You went to a debate. You hashed out some issues in front of the voters. It got reported on. Everybody voted. It was over with. I just don't understand how it's in Virginia. This has turned into the weaponization of a political office and just kind of a viciousness that is not normal, or at least hasn't been normal in Virginia.
It's exactly the weaponization of power, basically. And in this case, it's administrative power, school board power. But is this a person that you really want to put in the state Senate and the General Assembly? She's already demonstrated she's going to use her power to take out her political enemies or opponents. And in this case, had that complaint come back founded, or even if it come back, if they say we're going to investigate it, she probably would have been placed on administrative leave. So you're not just talking about the competition for the seat, but you're talking about with Julie Perry, her entire career as a teacher.
Yeah.
And they also, something else, they also brought in her students and interrogated them as to whether or not she was talking about anything Republican in her classroom. And her students all love her. All they say is they love her, and their answer is no, because that's not what Julie does.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to know Julie Perry. Maybe we need to talk to her on air. And I got to run, but how is your campaign going? Are you feeling good about things? Or?
Yeah, my campaign's going well. We are out and about and meeting and greeting all over the place, knocking on doors, making phone calls, all the above. So, yeah, we're going to.
That Chester crowd is kind of rallying for you.
Pardon me?
The crowd in Chester is kind of rallying for you. I mean,
yeah, down here in the Bermuda district, we have very strong candidates. We have, House incumbent Kerry Coyner. We have supervisor incumbent Jim, and we have we have Jim Engel. We have a number of people down here. Mike Cherry, even though he's running unopposed, has been out campaigning. The whole team down here in Chesterfield has been really working hard. So I think and the numbers show it. The early voting numbers show it. And then, I've been working hard in the city of Richmond for years. So at some point, we have to make a dent in that.
Well, listen, I appreciate your hard work, and I appreciate you coming on and illuminating this mess up in Northern Virginia. I hope people in Northern Virginia will pay attention as well. Hayden Fisher, who's running for the state senate down in the Chester area. Appreciate it very much. Thanks, Hayden.
Thank you, John.
All right, 7:17. We're back with more in a moment on News Radio WRVA.